My name is Connor Bates. I was 20 years old when a girl I met on a dating app came over, acted strange enough that I asked her to leave, and then sent me photos of myself sleeping from a number I did not recognize. I am going to tell you about that night. And then I am going to tell you about two other people who gave their home address to someone who was not who they said they were. Because all three of these situations ended with someone standing inside a house they were never supposed to be in. Drop a comment below if you have ever had a gut feeling about someone online, and you were right. Keep listening. Annette, I want to be clear about something before I start. I am not someone who scares easily. I grew up in a house where my bedroom was in the basement with its own separate entrance off the side yard. I had been down there since I was 16. I was used to being the only person on that floor. The rest of my family slept upstairs. I had privacy and I was comfortable in that space. That comfort was part of why I did not see the problem until it was too late. I was on Tinder in the fall of my sophomore year of college. I had matched and met up with two people before this. Both were fine. Nothing bad happened, nothing particularly good either. Just two unremarkable evenings with two people I did not click with. The third match was a girl named Annette. 4 photos on her profile, 3 of her posing alone in what looked like a backyard, one in front of a pond somewhere. In every single photo, she was by herself. No friends, no group shots, no context of a life around her. I noticed it, but I did not think hard about it. Plenty of people post solo photos. She was decent looking. We started talking, and within a day she asked what I was doing that night. I said nothing. She asked if she could come over. I told her about the basement setup. She said that sounded perfect. We set a time. She texted me at the exact minute we had agreed on, saying she was outside. Not a minute early, not a minute late. I remember thinking that was unusual. Not alarming, just oddly precise. I let her in through the side door and we went downstairs. From the first 30 seconds, I knew something was off. Her responses were short in a way that felt deliberate rather than shy. When I asked how long the drive had been, she laughed instead of answering. Not a normal nervous laugh. A specific kind of laugh where the sound was right, but the eyes did not change. She kept looking directly at me with her eyes wide open, not blinking at a normal rate. Just watching. I turned the TV on to fill the silence. She never looked at it once. The entire time I sat there, she watched me. Not the TV, not the room, not anything else. Just me. When I laughed at something on the screen, she would smile, but only after a half-second delay, like she was processing the cue. I lasted about 40 minutes before I manufactured a reason to end it. I said I had gotten a text about coming into work early the next morning. I said I needed to get some sleep. She did not respond right away. She looked at me for a moment in that particular flat way and then stood up slowly. Getting her out took longer than it should have. She moved without urgency. She found reasons to pause at the door. She asked me a question I do not even remember now, something designed to restart the conversation and buy another 5 minutes. I answered briefly and held the door open. She left. I locked the side door, went upstairs to the kitchen, made a sandwich, came back down. Total time away from my room was maybe 12 minutes. I picked up my phone from the ledge where I had left it charging. 5 texts from an unknown number. The first 2 were pictures. The next 2 were question marks. The last one said, "Nice. Good job blocking me." I looked at the photos. They were of me, taken from inside my room while I was in it. I was on my bed in both of them, not looking at the camera shot from an angle that put the photographer somewhere near the boiler room doorway. The final text from the unknown number said, "Lock your door next time." I stood in the middle of my basement holding my phone and felt my skin go cold all over. My phone had been on the washer in the boiler room. I had not put it there. I had not gone into the boiler room that night. She had moved my phone during the brief window when she was in my space, taken it into that room, placed it on the machine. The boiler room was accessible from my bedroom through an interior door. It had no windows. no exterior access. It was dark in there and cluttered with the cylinder of the water heater and several shelving units along the walls. I looked at the interior door to the boiler room. It was slightly ajar. I stood there and I thought about whether I was alone. I did not check. I want to be honest about that. I was 20 years old and I was alone, and I was not going to open that door and look behind the water heater in the dark. I went upstairs and woke my parents, and we called the police together. The officers searched the basement, including the boiler room. They did not find her. Either she had already left or there was a way out I was not aware of. The officers found a window latch in the boiler room that had been pushed to the unlocked position. It was a small window near the ceiling that opened onto the side yard. Tracking her down was not complicated. She had left a full digital trail. Her real name was not Annette. It was Silvana. She was charged with breaking and entering, stalking, and harassment. I got a restraining order. I never heard from her again. The thing I think about most is the 12 minutes. She had been in my space for 12 minutes without me there. Long enough to move my phone, long enough to take 2 photos, long enough to unlock a window and decide whether to use it or not. I do not know what she was planning for after the photos. I do not know why she moved my phone instead of just taking it. I do not know if she was still in the building when I came back downstairs or if she had already gone. I just know that when I picked up my phone and looked at those photos, I felt for the first time in my life what it actually means to have been watched without knowing. Number 22. The second story I want to tell you happened about a year after what I just described. It happened to someone in my extended friend group. I will call him Tyler because he asked me to. Tyler was using a dating app called Hot or Not. He matched with a blonde girl who appeared in his suggested matches. She was attractive, her profile seemed active, and the conversation went unusually well from the first message. Easy back and forth. She was funny and responsive and seemed genuinely interested in him. They moved to Snapchat. Her score was low, which gave Tyler a moment of pause. He asked her to send a selfie directly to verify she was real. She did. He asked for a thumbs up or a peace sign. She sent half her face smiling with a peace sign. That was enough for him. They kept talking. She invited him over to her house. She said she was home alone. She gave him an address across town. Tyler checked her Snap map. Her Bitmoji showed up at the same general address she had given him. Everything aligned. He got dressed, got in his car, drove over. The house had the number 22 next to the front door, matching exactly what she had sent him. No cars in the driveway. The lawn was overgrown in a way that suggested nobody had been out there with a mower in several weeks. Tyler rang the doorbell. No answer. He knocked loud. Still nothing. He tried calling her through Snapchat. It rang without connecting. He stood on the porch of this quiet house on a quiet street at night and tried to figure out what was happening. A woman's voice came from across the street, an older woman standing on her own porch asking what he was doing. Tyler explained he was meeting someone. The woman walked closer and told him something that made the ground feel strange under his feet. She said nobody lived there. The house had been vacant for months. She was certain of it. She had been on that block for years and she knew every house. Tyler confirmed the address. The woman confirmed it matched what he was looking at, an empty house. He went back to Snapchat to message the account. She had already blocked him. The profile was gone. He checked Hot or Not. The match was gone there too. He drove home with his hands tight on the wheel, trying to understand the shape of what had just happened. Someone had constructed a false profile using a real girl's photos. They had built enough verification into the interaction, the selfie, the peace sign, the snap map location to get Tyler to physically drive to a specific address at night. When he got home, he sent screenshots of the profile to his friend group asking if anyone recognized the girl. One friend said he did. He said the girl in the photos was someone from their high school named Lisa. He said Lisa had died 2 years earlier. A second friend confirmed it immediately. Same girl, same face. Someone had been using photographs of a girl who was no longer alive to construct a fake identity on a dating app. They had used those photos to get a real person to drive across town to a vacant house at night. Tyler told me later that the part he could not make sense of was the snap map. Her Bitmoji had shown at the address she gave him. That meant whoever was running the account had been near that vacant house when Tyler was on his way there. Or they had been there before, and the location had not yet updated. Either way, someone had been at or near that address as part of whatever this was. Tyler does not know what was supposed to happen at that house. He does not know if he was supposed to get out of his car and wait or try to find a way in or call out or what. He does not know what would have happened next if the neighbor had not been on her porch. He told me he thinks about that vacant house sometimes, what it looked like inside, whether there was someone already in there when he rang the doorbell. He never found an answer and he stopped looking for one. I know you're in there. The third story is my own. This one is the worst one I have to tell. I was 21. My parents were away for the weekend. My younger sister was home with me, 17 years old, her room at the back of the house, facing the yard. I matched on a dating app with a girl who had gone to my high school. Her name on the profile was Maria, same face I recognized from 4 years of passing in hallways. We were not close in school, but I knew who she was. We started talking about high school and mutual people we remembered. It felt completely real. She said she wanted to hang out that night. I suggested we meet somewhere for food or drinks. She said she would rather just come to my place if that was okay. I said sure. She asked if my parents were home. I told her no. Just me and my sister. I gave her my address. Then I waited. An hour went by, then an hour and 15 minutes. I messaged on the app. No response. I checked her Instagram. She had posted a story recently, a meme. She was active somewhere, just not responding to me. I checked her Snapchat story. She was with a friend at some location across town, posted within the last 30 minutes. I left a comment on her story asking if she was still coming. She opened it and replied within a couple of minutes. She said, "What are you talking about?" I repeated myself, referenced the conversation on the app. She sent back, "I do not have that app. Send me the profile." I sent her screenshots. She replied immediately. She told me it was a catfish using her photos. She told me to report it. I sat very still for a moment. Someone had used this girl's photos in her name to build a profile real enough that I had recognized her and started a conversation about our shared high school history. They had asked whether my parents were home. They had gotten my home address. They had confirmed I was there with only my younger sister, and then they had gone quiet. I went through every room on the ground floor. I checked the back door. I checked the side door. I checked the windows in the kitchen, in the dining room, and the living room. Everything locked. I sat back down on the couch and told myself it was over. The profile was probably just collecting addresses for some reason I could not understand. Nothing was going to happen. That was what I told myself for the next 2 hours. It was close to midnight when my sister screamed. Not a startled sound, a full sustained scream that stopped and started and then rose in pitch. I was off the couch and in the hallway before I had taken a breath. Her door opened just as I reached it. She was in the frame, her face a color I had never seen on another person before, and she grabbed my arm and said there was someone outside her window. I told her to go upstairs. I went to her window. The backyard was dark. I could see the fence line and the shape of the tree in the corner. Nothing moving, no one there now. But the grass below the window was flattened in a way that fresh grass is not. Something had been standing there pressing against the ground. I could not reach my parents. Neither phone picked up. I sat on the couch and listened to the house for a long time. My sister refused to come back downstairs. She had locked herself in my parents' room upstairs, and I let her stay there. An hour passed. I started to relax by increments. That was when I heard the sound from the hallway, a single footstep, the specific creak of the third stair from the bottom. My sister heard it too. I know because a second later she appeared in the doorway of my parents' room at the top of the stairs, looking down at me with wide eyes and her hand over her mouth. I held up one hand toward her and pointed at my parents' room door. She understood and went back inside, and I heard the lock click. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. I whispered my address. I whispered that I believed there was an intruder in my house. The operator told me to get somewhere I could lock a door. I went to my bedroom, pushed the door shut, pressed the lock in the handle, then pushed my desk chair under the knob as a second measure. I crouched against the wall beside the door in the dark and kept the operator on the line. Footsteps in the hallway, slow, deliberate, moving toward my door. They stopped outside it. A hand tried the knob, turned it fully both ways and found it locked. A pause, then a knock. Not a polite knock. Slow, heavy knocks spaced apart. Then a voice, low, male, very calm. He said, "I know you're in there. I can smell you." I heard the 911 operator on my phone say she heard it. She told me in a steady voice to stay where I was and that units were already on the way and less than 3 minutes out. My sister's muffled voice came through the ceiling above me. She was crying and saying something about the police coming. She was not loud, but she was audible. The knocking stopped. A laugh, one short sound, then nothing. Then the sound of footsteps retreating back down the hall toward the kitchen. I stayed against the wall until I heard the police at the front door. I let them in. They cleared the house in 4 minutes. He was gone. The entry point was my parents' bedroom window, accessible from the backyard by climbing onto the low awning over the back door. The window had been unlocked, which it sometimes was in fall. He had climbed up, pushed it open, and come inside, while I was sitting 40 feet away on the living room couch. The police found partial prints on the awning surface. They found the grass below my sister's window compacted the way I had seen it. The theory was that he had first approached my sister's window to confirm who was in the house and where, and then found his way to the entry point. The catfish profile was already gone from the app by the time I showed the officers my phone. No trace. The officers recommended we sleep elsewhere that night. We went to a friend's house, and I did not sleep at all. What gets left at the door? I want to bring these three things together because the connection between them is the thing that matters most. In every case, there was a question asked early in the conversation. Annette asked to come to my place. Julia asked if Tyler was home. The fake Maria asked if my parents were home. Those questions were not casual. They were the whole point of the conversation. Everything before them was just the setup. The photos, the matched interests, the easy back and forth, the verification snaps and peace signs and snap map locations. All of it existed to get one person comfortable enough to answer one question honestly. Are you alone? Are your parents home? Can I come over? And once that question was answered, the profile had everything it needed. Annette got what she came for and used it. Someone left photos of me sleeping on my own phone to prove they had been in my space and I had not known. That is a message. I still do not fully understand what it was meant to communicate or what the next step was supposed to be. Tyler was led to a vacant house at night by a profile using photos of someone who had died. He is still not sure what was supposed to happen when he got there. The person who used Maria's photos came to my house while I was in it, waited outside my sister's window, climbed through a window in the dark, stood outside my locked bedroom door in the middle of the night and said, "I know you were in there." That person was never caught. The profile was never identified. The prints were never matched. He knew the layout of my house well enough to find the accessible window. He knew my parents were not home. He knew my sister was there. He had 30 minutes between when I last messaged the profile and when the police arrived to do whatever he had come to do. I think about what he intended in that hallway. I think about the voice through the door, the steadiness of it, the absence of panic in it, the laugh when my sister mentioned the police. That was not the sound of someone who was surprised. That was the sound of someone doing a familiar thing. I verified every person I talked to after that. I still do. Reverse image search on every profile photo. Video call before any in-person plan. Never the first time at my home, always somewhere public first. Tell someone where I am going and who I am meeting, and I always lock the door. Even when I am just stepping away for 12 minutes. Even when I am sure I am alone.